Sam, want to come to the Mets game on Friday?
I don't think I can. Give me a few weeks and I'll be back to like mobile.
We'll will you in.
Activities.
We can put you into the
I'd probably get a nice seat.
Yeah, I was gonna say the ADA section.
I did see that some of the seats were like the wheelchair row, and I was like, oh, can I buy these? And I guess you can. It's not like restricted. It's just sort of like they don't ask you to be mobility impaired.
You talking about baseball?
Yeah, just for like the wheelchair accessible seats, like on the.
We're gonna get one for Sam.
I guess like part of it is like you buy a ticket, and then I guess if you are in a wheelchair, you just sit in your wheelchair there. Like it's just like you put it next to it.
There's not a seat for you. Yeah.
Right.
You just park up,
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm down in the future. Or like, isn't the Subway series happening like that July, June?
Yeah, I think it might even be in May or June. I was scanning the Met schedule a little bit, so it's coming up though. But they're gonna, I mean, there'll be a home and away. Every team is playing everyone this year.
Oh, all right.
I mean, I guess Mets Yankees happen every year, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, I need a new sport now, so.
Right.
Ooh,
Might
May
be
31st.
basketball, honestly.
Is Pups at the Park.
Oh.
Yeah, they also have like, unlike other clubs we know, some like pretty good promo like giveaways.
Damn, already
this year look like.
When are the Mets gonna have a Bumble sponsored singles night like Nashville SC? That's what I want to know.
I forgot about that.
Well, we're recording this time. We recorded like the best 5 minutes of Patter you've ever heard, but and it turned out it wasn't recording, so we're doing it again. It's episode 243, and it's a blessed episode. It's a good episode because after 2 weeks out, Sam has returned to us via Discord call. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm back. So just to clarify from last episode, I was not Neon Genesis Evangelion. But there was a hyperbolic time chamber at the hospital for special surgery, but Serge Goma was in there the entire time. So I just got an orthopedic boot and was sent on my way for a nice 4-month recovery.
No special surgery?
Better than ever. No, they opted not to do surgery at the hospital for special surgery.
No.
See, this makes me suspicious because in Neon Genesis Evangelion, they kind of retained that consciousness of the being, so maybe you are, and you just didn't realize that you were replaced.
No special surgery, no normal surgery?
Maybe that is the case. Maybe they're going to do the same thing every time I have to go back for my checkup too. So what do you say was like a 5 or multi-part surgery in Neon Genesis?
Oh, no, they just replace the person entirely.
Okay. Well, that might just be the case.
Yeah. You might be dead. We don't even know,
I imagine they might have slotted you in for a surgery if all the surgeons weren't tied up in Surgeon Goma business. I mean, just is what it is.
I think it's a punch card situation where after doing 4 or 5 surgeries is when you get to have the special surgery and get to be in the vat of goo kind of situation. So if we keep playing long enough, maybe we can fill out our punch card and actually finally meet Dr. Riley Williams. But not yet.
We'll all hold hands in a circle and just say, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations over and over again.
What's that from?
That's the Neon Genesis.
Okay, I'm learning so much this week. We had a killer joke about the injury report, and I forgot how we got to it the first time. So just trust that it was really funny when we said it for the first recording. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we're gonna have an injury report for Sam for the rest of the season, which the last 2 weeks he was listed as probable.
Right,
and we know how that went.
Yeah, so. And then this week he's just listed as out. Parentheses unavailable, like Dante Vanzeir. All right, there we go. Got it.
Got it.
Nice. Hit our marks.
Peaches probably did not record that correctly either, but
We can
Hopefully it makes it in.
Maybe I might be able to splice it together in a way that makes sense. Probably not.
Yeah, use like the AI bot with our voices.
Yeah, exactly.
And have like the Joe Biden, like, I smoke so much loud. Or whatever.
we could get Joe Biden just screaming soda at it because, the last 2 weeks we've really gone all in on just filling up our glasses with ice and clanking up against the mic.
In
It's been a
lieu
new
of,
vibe.
me being able to bring my season-long souvenir cup to Red Bull Arena,
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I fucking told you. I fucking told you. I mean, it wasn't the coronavirus this time, but why did you buy that shit?
I did not know that those cups could be that good. It's like
You did know. You
right.
did know.
It's like, every single one of those cups that they sell for the season-long souvenir cups at Red Bull Arena is like another one of those cups from Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail that he drinks from that isn't the Holy Grail.
Yeah, it's okay. Cork and I, we went to the Mets game the other week, and we both got Buck Showalter Manager of the Year souvenir cups. I don't think we get refills from them, so it's fine.
Yeah, there's no cursed energy.
Yeah, there's no bad juju.
Yeah.
If you need a little bit of managerial acumen and deep knowledge of the rule book, you just take a sip from it.
That's what they mean when they say no free refills,
Right. Okay. Yeah, no such thing as a free refill. But... yeah, well, Sam, was this a good 2 weeks to be out injured, or was it? I don't know, or was it a drag? Considering everything that's happened,
a drag no matter what. But yeah, I mean, part of me would have really loved to just kind of rely on some quality Red Bulls games to ease the pain of just not being able to play soccer. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, I would have walked out of the stadium if I were there. So, consider this just my way of doing that, I guess. But yeah, I ended up canceling my season ticket. And at this point I just, I'm going to buy random stray tickets on, whatever.
Once Struber's fired.
Once Struber is fired. So I don't plan on going back anytime soon anyway. So the timing works out really well in that sense. But it would be now more than ever would be nice to watch some good Red Bull soccer. And we are very far away from that.
Hey, Knicks 3-1 playing tomorrow. First time they might win a playoff round in a while. So.
And the Rangers and the
Devils won, right?
Right. I mean,
let's go Devils.
Literally, every arena team is in the playoffs.
Every
right
New York
now.
team is finally getting good with the New York Red Bulls.
Exactly.
Maybe the New York Red Bulls have been keeping New York sports from greatness.
The Jets just got Rodgers. Giants just had a good season.
It was all
Mets
the
are
Red Bulls'
money.
fault. They were taking
Yankees
all the
just
playoff
missed World
juice from the
Series.
other New York sports.
Wait, so were you were able to cancel this season's ticket?
Yeah, so I just filled out a form to cancel the rest of it. I was on a payment plan, and so I was,
I'm on that too.
I was emailing my rep about it, and I was kind of just asking him, not directly, but I just was saying, give me a sign. Look, if Van Zier or Struber is on the way out, I would love to keep my ticket, or honestly just renew it as soon as that happens. And then he just responded sorry to see you go, and with a link to a form to fill out. So clearly they're just getting a ton of these, and they're just these very canned responses. So I just filled out my form with all my information for my Red membership, and I haven't been billed since then. So I'm out. But I still have my Apple TV, access. So
don't say that
that's a
too
win,
loud.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
anybody from the go ahead.
Tim Apple's listening to our podcast right
That's
now.
very handy
that's
to know.
true.
I'm gonna do that as well. And if anyone else is listening, listening is interested, great to know. Because been listening the last couple weeks, you know how we feel, and I'm sure we'll reiterate it in the coming minutes. But very handy to know. I was also on the payment plan. I would appreciate having that money back, and also just not supporting what's been going on. So, hot new tip to the listenership: you can't, ask for a refund. But Damn. Yeah, it's been a continuation of the big old salad days that we're in. This week had a great time watching the game. Got to see exhilarating 2 goals scored, not 1 but 2 goals scored against the Red Bulls by the worst club in the league, or the second worst club in the league. Because I think there's we've reached the week where it is plausible, it is believable, it is credible to say or ask or suggest that are the New York Red Bulls the worst team in the league right now?
Hard to believe we're here.
Yep. And I think kind of building on the framing of last week's episode, I think, it's like going into this week, did anyone reasonably expect a win or think a win was possible? I have to say the answer I think was no. Nobody really out there was walking into this game thinking yeah, this is a game the Red Bulls, you can expect them to score a goal in and maybe get a result in. As a reminder, Montreal had 3 points going into this game. They're the absolute last place team in the league going into this. With that said, it seems like the expectation is just so low already, understandably for this team, that we go in and we lose 2-0. And I don't think anyone is really surprised. And we lose 2-0 with the second goal coming when we are a man up. I have to say a generous man up too, because that second yellow card from Montreal, one of the softer ones I've seen.
Yeah.
It was given for kicking the ball, a second yellow for kicking the ball away.
In the 60th minute, so not even really acute time wasting period. I mean,
right.
And just goes to show that, the only thing that was going wrong with the team in the first month was just those bad calls not going our way.
Right.
If we had just gotten those cheap red cards in some of those games earlier in the season, then obviously we would have steamrolled those teams and not given up another goal like we did against the worst team in the league this past weekend. Or maybe
we would have lost by more and looked more legitimately in the table where we deserve to be based on how we've been playing.
Right.
Because, man, we definitely... Look, I think a lot of people might agree with me, too, that I was kind of hoping for a loss, really, at this point, but considering everything going on with this team, the total lack of feeling of anyone's listening to the issues going on. This is just another
honestly, it seemed like the players
wrong.
It seemed like the players weren't really that into it. I mean, who could blame them?
Yeah.
After, obviously the last couple of weeks, but we've discussed the whole trajectory. Why would you invest your heart and soul into what all this has become?
Yeah, it's
we talked about. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We talked about the other week. We talked about how where's the floor? How do we find the floor for this club for Struber's tenure? And that was before all of this went down against San Jose. And it just really feels like this type of loss puts us at the floor or close to it, but we're seeing that when we get there, there's actually just no action or response at all from the front office, sporting director, anybody who pulls the strings. So it's just really, deflating. It's already deflating anyway.
No, I mean, that's kind of been part of what's been disorienting about all this, is that it's become kind of a horse race between whether, the horrible leadership around the Vanzeir incident or the actual results on the field, which of them is, more of a rationale for cutting Struber loose. It becomes kind of a thing where people, I had some tweets about it with Vanzeir in the last week, where it's kind of people are kind of either subconsciously or not, kind of rhetorically convincing themselves oh yeah, obviously that Vanzeir incident was really ugly, but it's especially sucks because the Red Bulls were doing really good otherwise, and Vanzeir was doing really good otherwise. They're not.
Right.
That wasn't the case at all. Both things are just very bad right now.
It makes me wonder if anyone's asking the question, what reason is there for Gerhard Struber to be manager of the New York Red Bulls? Because, at all points, right, on the sporting side, this team is not scoring. or defending at this point, really.
The only possible, and I addressed this on Twitter earlier today too, where it's like the only argument that I put a slight amount of credence in is the idea that, well, yeah, team's been dealing with a lot of injuries, but like I said on Twitter, I mean, we had Luquinhas and Lewis Morgan healthy for the first 3 weeks of the season, and we only scored 1 goal in those 3 games.
Right.
We've seen, this team at full strength already, and it's still not great.
Right. And moreover, like I think overarching point of like, if this club is a project of developing young players or whatever, right? The case points where people were making of him developing these players in terms of CCJ, Tolkien, and Edelman, all of them seem to have stagnated in terms of their abilities at this point in their careers here.
Edelman apparently isn't even like favored anymore. He's already lost his spot to Stroud a couple times.
But we can see like, and I'm not blaming Edelman for this. But
it's just it's bizarre.
But like, when I see him play, he's noticeably struggling. And, if you're a central midfielder, you need runners to come to you in order to make options, right? And that doesn't happen to him. So, it's like, I know the reasons why he's struggling, but, I think the manager is, precluded to blame each individual, as we've seen, or, put that responsibility there. But yeah, like there's no reason I can think of that benefits this club from having Gerhard Struber as the manager of the New York Red Bulls at this point.
I mean, just to piggyback again on my injury thing, the other point I wanted to make about that is that we've already seen this team without huge injury crisis, and it's not looked great. And B, it's starting to be a little odd how many injuries really are picking up. We've talked through the last year about how strange the, official club reports seem to be about injuries and how there doesn't seem to be any relationship between those and who actually ends up on the field on Saturdays. And now we're at the point, I mean, we put out a tweet through the podcast account where it was like, what the hell is going on that the injury report is now, it's only 2 months into the season and the injury report is already like 8 guys deep. Like, what the hell could be going on that many players get injured? And these aren't even injuries that we're seeing in games. It's not like these guys are, taking hard tackles in games and having to be subbed out. In a couple cases, that's what's going on. But a lot of these, it's just all of a sudden these names are popping up on the injury report. And it's just like, who knows? Who knows both what the origin of the injury is and when it'll ever be back. I mean, it's become something that's, you need to hire some 12-year-old math prodigy from MIT to actually know what the injury status of the New York Red Bulls is right now.
What is Lewis Morgan's injury? Anyway.
I can't even, well, we found out, I think Luquinhas, they officially said it was the adductor, that torso thing that Tyler Adams had for years. I think with Morgan, it's just like a vague leg thing, but regardless of what it is, it's just something, he was deemed, it was in the midst of before the Van Zier incident when Van Zier wasn't even allowed to play, 10, 20 minutes. We were seeing Lewis Morgan supposedly dealing with an injury, get thrown out there for 45 and then get pulled. And now he's been away injured for a month. And it's just like, we always hear the rationale for so many bizarre decisions as being, we're doing load management or we're watching for injuries. Doesn't seem to be working.
No.
Literally half the squad is in and out of the medical table. It's just, none of this is, normal. And again, this all congeals into being what I was just mentioning a minute ago, where it's just like people kind of have to convince themselves like, it's really bad, but it's just compartmentalized in that one thing and everything else is, going all right. If we can just get that straight. No, everything's kind of a mess right now,
Yeah. And I think it's also clear that, even the underlying numbers and expected goals, pressing numbers, I think really flatter us too. It's like if you spend a second watching this team, you can tell that nothing's going on. The players aren't moving off the ball. Nobody is really even hustling anymore. It's a completely dead team, completely dead situation where, bottom of the table 9 matches in, in the third year of this manager who's been given free rein to shape everything. He's ousted the head of sport, or the head of sport is left, and now, you know, his old friend is now running the team as the head of sport instead, but the team has only gotten worse as he has gotten more control of the squad. That they've only looked worse. They scored even less. We've only won 1 game this season. And for this game, you know, for this result, at a normal club, this would be a very sensical or obvious point at which this could be a threshold, you know, losing to the worst team in the league, not scoring a goal, not even really getting close on any chances, and solidly establishing this as the worst start to any season. So I think someone posted since 2006 even. I think we might even be worse than 2009 at this point.
Yeah, I think we are worse than the 09 pace.
Yeah, I think statistically the worst manager since 2009.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Osorio took us to a final, basically worst manager since Arena.
Yeah.
At this point.
And there's zero inkling that any sort of actual introspection is done. I mean, over the weekend, it's been the new Red Bull image, you know, that people are posting in response to the team now is corner flag, the image of the corner flag, which is, you know, the stock photo they use for like press releases. You know, it's kind of the Red Bull equivalent of Comunicado Oficial, you know, for Real Madrid, where that, you know, saying that is the image that would accompany news of Gerhard Struber leaving the club. And that's the overwhelming response. And I think even with that, you know, sort of being the kind of go-to reply and thing among the fan base.
Record-winning reply.
Yeah, we have the league leading this week, biggest ratio. Here's a stat for you. And then I still think that even as everyone was posting that, there wasn't really like a hope that he would actually get fired. I think people are kind of like, yeah, maybe this is just.
I don't know. I think this was like the point where it's like, okay, there's not even like a sporting reason for a lot of people. Where it's just
right.
Like,
well, as we've speculated, it is the weird territory now where you wonder if they're digging in their heels on the racism incident, maybe is perversely causing them to refuse to admit that he also is shitty at his sporting side of the job as well. I mean, I will say though that like the sporting and non-sporting side very much blur together. You know, his mismanaging the situation is also a sporting problem, I will say. But like the fact that the results aren't even good also maybe is being guarded by the fact that they punted and totally abdicated responsibility on firing him after the San Jose incident. So, I mean, do they feel obligated? But also, taking a step back, who is even they? I mean, Sam earlier put in the terms of like pulling the strings of like who's pulling the strings, who to actually fire this guy. I think the question is like, yeah, who is in charge of pulling such strings? Who is in charge of hiring and firing the manager at Red Bull New York? Or maybe even more fundamentally, like, are there any strings? Like, does anyone know how to make decisions like that? Is there anyone at the club? Is there an org chart? Is there any sort of delineated responsibility, or is there a contingency plan for what would even be next? Because right now it seems like there's zero vision in the manager from the manager himself, zero vision of what the club is beyond the manager, and zero vision of what this club should be or where it has even been in its recent history. Just the only vision is something that comes prepackaged from the Disney Corporation to hold our 3 Star Wars nights a year, you know. Sorry, one of them is Marvel night, and then, you know, Star Wars night, and then I don't know, fucking Roblox night. Is that coming?
No.
They'll win us back with 90s night again.
Oh yeah,
we're suckers.
Sass will be clapping like a seal again, doing the Macarena like it's the 1996 DNC. Yeah, that's that. And I'm gonna stop myself before I get too off the deep end. But yeah, it's, you know, who's home? Is anyone home? Does anyone care? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think it's really time to wonder.
I did hear in the ESE back channels, apparently there is support for me as caretaker manager should it happen.
You?
Yeah.
Okay.
They said Peaches in, so.
All right.
You have played on the pitch, didn't you?
I have played on the pitch at RBA. That's true.
Wow.
I'm
That thing
familiar
last
with the
year, right?
grounds. I'm familiar with the locker room. You know.
Yeah.
Do you still have your UEFA
Did they review
F
your
license?
record? Did they review your record as caretaker of GeoGuessr?
I mean, it's better than
assessment?
Gerhard's, honestly, at this point.
Do you have a win? All right.
We actually a heartbreaking loss this week, but Derek admitted fault to it this week. So you know,
okay.
I don't even have to put my players under the bus.
Well,
They
you-
throw themselves under
I was
for
going
me.
to say you already sound like Gerhard Struber, so maybe this is a perfect
Seamless
fit.
transition.
We were playing Banks of Two all season, so maybe, you know. And then we abandoned it last week.
Jeez.
Yeah, just like Gerhard.
You know, you people might remember in the heady days of this old podcast, in the midst of the Armis zone, we kind of wandered a bit into you know, multi genre kind of reflections on all sorts of things, and to just avoid or just have something to talk about, you know, in the middle of the pandemic. So this week I did watch another movie that I was thinking of, you know, maybe shamelessly applying onto this circumstance we have in the Red Bulls world here. But it turns out Gerhard Struber is nothing like Barry Lyndon. So, you know, he does not fuck. He has no sort of perverse sense of charisma. He doesn't, you know, successfully climb ladders. So unfortunately, he's nothing. Or is he? Because he has spent parts of his career rambling around both Germany and England, hopping from one patron to the other, just being a
God.
shameless con man. He has, you know,
He has
scammed.
weirdly high friends or weirdly high placed friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
of dubious origin.
Right.
He does, you know, hop above his station a little bit at a certain point, and then gets a little bit in over his head. Does not really know how to take the final step into actually securing himself.
Gets into some pretty messy disagreements with
Yeah.
some people he shouldn't.
Right. Really gets overzealous maybe with punishing some of his subordinates underneath him. Is from a sort of peripheral part of his world, really striving to get to the center, but can ultimately not be part of it. So, you know, maybe he is just an extra failed version of Barry Lyndon. You know, Barry Lyndon, except without the charm and being able to woo random German countrywomen while deserting. It is about time, though. It's like, come on, surely he should be able to desert the army by now, right? Like, it's been 3 years, Barry. Like, isn't it time to go on to the next thing? We're kind of just stuck at the phase where he's just like spending outrageous amounts of money on really shitty paintings and refusing to recognize that it's gone. But Gerhard, it's time to shoot into the ground. It's time to get your leg chopped off. Spoiler alert for the 1970s movie Barry Lyndon. It's time to be paid 500 guineas a year to fuck off to Ireland and never appear again. But yeah. That's
Red Bull's listeners of podcasts will be happy to hear that there's going to be a diversity of content. I was recently on Metro Fan TV to talk about Bocchi the Rock in anime. So,
is that like Barry Lyndon?
I mean, like, probably.
Probably.
Okay.
It's more like Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
I imagine.
I mean, actually, but yeah, no.
Was Peter Sellers playing 8 different characters
Yeah.
in Bocchi the Rock? Is he both Bocchi and a rock?
You'd be surprised at how much I can question whether or not I can say yes to that.
Was Arlie Ermy a technical consultant on the
Mm-hmm.
film and then hired to be an actor based on how well he was teaching the performances?
That's pretty much actually probably one of the side stories and how it got made in production. But if you listen to Metro Fan TV when it comes out in like 2 weeks or something, because they have a Zencaster like licensing issue or something, you'll hear the whole shallow dive that we do into that show.
I did think it was a bit odd that at the end of the meeting with the supporters group, Gerhard Struber suddenly bolted and stood up and said, "Mein Führer, I can press!" Little odd, little weird. Odd looking duck. Parody. We're not in England. You can't sue me for defamation or whatever they call it. He is from Austria, you know. But yeah, where is the floor? What is next? Who are we playing again this week? I don't know.
What's going on with the New York Red Bulls?
Yeah,
what's going on with them these
I
days?
think, right? Or something.
What?
Philadelphia?
No, we're playing Chicago.
Chicago.
Another trip they were considering making. And, actually, for both Montreal and Chicago, if we had made those trips, it might have actually just been nice to, not have to worry about the game and just kind of be able to chill.
Enjoy the cities.
I guess for Chicago, they're back in Soldier Field. And it wouldn't have even been that far of a detour. I don't know.
Man, look at how the Red Bulls mismanagement has made me miss all these Amtrak cities now.
Yeah. Chicago, it does take 20 hours to get to Chicago. I've done it on the Amtrak.
And I'll enjoy every single one.
I don't know if I've taken a long distance train before. Have I mentioned it enough? And Chicago's above us in the table.
Who isn't, except for like Miami.
Miami and Montreal, the only two teams. And they both have a game in hand on us. If they were to win that game in hand, we would be primo last place, baby.
And Miami actually has manager rumors, right?
Yeah, they're beating us to the punch.
Like, yeah, how they're gonna succeed us soon enough? Why don't we have any rumors? How is there no mention in the media that he's even on the hot seat? That is what is like. How is there not a leak of any kind that anyone's even thinking about firing him?
The powers that be barely pay attention to this club even when they're good.
Right.
No reason to start talking about him now, even for gallows humor.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of like us on here. I mean, it's not a particularly interesting mess. I mean, to be honest, it just kind of sucks. It's just salad.
Right. Well, it's just like those are even more reasons. It's like, yeah, when things are going well, you don't want to pay attention to it because things are going well. It's just such a mess.
Yeah, it's also just it's ugly.
It's a chopped salad too, not like all the lettuce pieces are like cut up because they mashed them because the knives aren't sharp.
It's in the words of Red Bull Arena. It's petite greens. It's just a little salad. It's just a little salad. It's not big. It's just a little. It's just a little on the side, just $17 for a little petite greens. Just a little bit of E. coli, getting sprinkled among there. But I do think also when you add in, like when we were just watching the highlights before to relive the glory of seeing a team score goals, it was striking, or Cork, you remarked on how the fact that even though Montreal is even worse than us in the table, it's like, oh, people are like, there's still people going to the games, and people are like, you can tell they're watching the game, and people are kind of connected. It's not just a bunch of random 5-year-olds who are given tickets for free.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, really, when you add that aspect in it as well, it's like the club culture really feels like it's at a low right now. Really feels like dead vibes. The only thing the club is doing in terms of like community building is this paint by numbers, like Disney imported stuff, like, Star Wars night where
and like having their freaky designer kits that aren't even in the club colors,
like photoshopping JMI onto a little, like whatever the local tourist attraction is for wherever we're going in the week. Just having, I'm sure Disney even sends over the Adobe Premiere package of just like inserting a player's photo into it to make it look like they're, flying the Star Wars plane or whatever. So it's like, it's not even like they're thinking hard about doing Star Wars night. It's all just made and just shipped out probably en masse at this point. So it's like, I guess if you want to have are they doing a bobblehead of like fucking
Luke Kenius as
Luke Kenius
a Jedi.
As a Jedi. Yeah. Oh, okay. So he's gonna.
It's actually just him in the soccer kit and the cape, I think. So.
All right. Is he gonna be Glup Shido? Because I feel like at this point he's about as relevant to the Star Wars to the team as the Glup Shido is, or He's the key to all this. Remember, guys, Wiki Carmona played this week, and he's the key to all this. If we get him going, he's a more dynamic player than we've ever had.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. Does this, is this tragedy farce, or is it it's a third more extreme thing? I think our old formulation was that 2018, the 2018 season was tragedy. The 2019 season was farce, And then this is a third, even more fucked up thing. So to be
it's almost like it's almost surrealism in terms of its cynicism. Just like the things that are happening are like beyond, you know.
Yeah.
New RBNY sport head of sport, Naomi Klein.
We're the Guernica of of soccer right now.
Right. So I guess if tragedy was like, you know, first Napoleon, farce was Napoleon III, and the third fucked up thing would be what? Like the Paris Commune, or the failure of the Paris Commune. Maybe that's what's happening to us right now. What is the bottom? How many French republics do we have to go through? We might get a sixth one, you know, like this year or something. Apparently Macron might shut it all down. That'd be exciting. You know, maybe we'll become a French Republic monitoring podcast. Be one of those like accounts that is posting like just quote tweets everything, being like, disturbing trends coming out of the Caspian Sea this evening. That's gonna be our main reports. I do. That does make. I don't know. Fuck it. There's some Chelsea chatter, you know, talking about how like, you know, the war has just completely ruined Chelsea and everything. And I did have the thought of like, you know, why couldn't Austria invade Ukraine? If someone was going to invade Ukraine, you just do one for, you know, old time's sake. Have Austria do it. Get some sanctions in. You know, get some divestment. You know, maybe have. I don't know. Would it help if Thailand also invaded? Just to get
it would have to be a joint action.
Yeah.
I was saying maybe the Philippines could start getting a little active on their.
Are we? Do we have Philippines ties? Is Red Bull have Philippines ties too?
Do we?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Is Austria?
I think
and
you
Thailand.
have the most Philippine ties.
That's true. Yeah. They didn't listen. I asked them to do it, but they didn't listen. But yeah, I mean, it's like after losing to Montreal last week, would it matter if we lost to Chicago this week? What, you know, I feel like, I don't know if this was even reported, but I feel like there was an idea floated somewhere that they might just be waiting until Struber's contract runs out in June. Which is one, why would his contract run out in June? Two, like, can you think of a more pathetic thing to do in the world than just wait for his... If, like, you're going to pay him through June anyway, just fucking give him a severance check now. Why would you think that's less embarrassing?
Than paying him a month worth, yeah. Or like half of that, whatever it is, even.
My God, what is wrong with these people? It's like the most embarrassing thing I've ever watched. It's really, really depraved how bad it's gotten. What else is there to say about it, really?
Well, I mean, maybe I hope that Red Bull keep losing so that the Knicks keep winning. You know,
do you think there's a trade-off there?
Well, I was saying, like, you know, it's like you can only have so many hours where in your life where you're spending energy or whatever. You only have so much wind juice in the city.
Oh yeah, the Trump theory of
energy
energy
conservation.
Yeah,
the Trump
of
law
calories. of kinetic energy. That's so true.
Now I'm imagining Trump on 7th Avenue going, "Fuck Trae Young, fuck Trae Young, fuck Trae Young."
Folks,
I mean, he recently did become a fan of Ice Spice, so you never.
I'm just hearing this Trae Young fellow, very nasty fellow. Just did very rude things. Making 3-pointers, playing defense, very not appropriate. Honestly, looked disgusting in his jersey, in his Atlanta Hawks. What was it, Atlanta?
Yeah,
Atlanta Hawks jersey.
Well, that felt like so long ago.
Yeah, when was that?
2021.
That was back when people were still talking about side talk or whatever.
Was that really 2 years ago? Garrett Struber's been here for 3 years.
Yeah, man.
He's been here for 3 years.
Maybe that's why time has felt so compressed in the past, like 3 years, because it's all Gerhard Struber, and nothing feels like it changes or develops or progresses.
So I guess the Chris Armas era was really, I don't even really think of 2018, but it's like at most mid 2018 to mid 2020. So Struber's been here for basically a whole year longer than Armas was, and it does feel a lot longer.
I mean, Jesse Marsh was what, 15, 16, 17, half of 18?
Yeah.
So this is now 21. Well, okay, yeah, he's got a little bit of time to catch up with Jesse's tenure.
Oh,
but yeah,
don't forget the playoff game.
Well, yeah, but yeah, just a. I would hope we're not going to reach there, but it would be pretty bizarre if he ends up being longer tenured than like Jesse and Petke. Even, well, I mean, I guess before all fucking hell broke loose once they started playing this season, my most generous assessment of the Struber tenure was that it was basically the same thing as Baca, just kind of a decent wash, but still, not didn't obviously bring home the goods, but leaves a little bit of a structure in place. Now, I don't even think there's a structure in place. Yeah. Now I think the next manager is just going to have to start from the drawing board.
I'm so Chelsea poisoned because I was just like, oh no, they're going to fire Gerhard Struber and they're going to make Mike Petke the caretaker manager.
Oh yeah, exactly.
God, and Jesse is our longest tenured coach ever, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that happened. Yeah. So we are a couple months away from Gerhard Struber being our most longest tenured coach ever.
Well, I think he has. Well, no, because he has one. There's the one game in 2020, and then 2 full seasons, and now like a third of this season.
Oh, okay, so he's
got he has to go in like another year,
all right,
and change to get to Jesse, but still,
inshallah,
that's still close enough that we're even having the conversation.
Yeah, because Hans Baca was three
straight years, yeah,
and and I guess Petke was 2.
Petke was 2. Because he had Shield season and he got fired after 14.
Right. And it almost feels like 1.5, But yeah. Damn. Wow. What a legacy. What a way to shape your team, your club. What is the end for this? I don't know. Because it does, I guess one thing that we haven't gone full, we've started kvetching about it a little bit more this week. But one thing we haven't gotten as much into the last 2 weeks was the angle of just sort of really abandoning any sort of cultivation of fans and then really going all in on like the youth tickets. Apparently Marc de Grandpré said this fairly explicitly on his interview on Seeing Red, where they think they're sowing seeds of future fans by, I guess, just like giving tickets to youth players, as though, as we all know that when you have stayed doing, you like everything forever that you liked when you were 9 years old.
Right.
Definitely a predictable, and especially when, you don't have control over your own wallet and your own time and way to get places. Really reliable group of people to market to. Also, Peaches is going to be peeling them off and addicting them to Roblox anyway. So it's like, they're just a losing battle.
They're just funneling them into my conversion system.
They're just softening them up for
the Roblox activation about the New York Red Bulls that'll create. But it's funny because the only types of people who I've seen where this worked on, like the Metro Stars back in the day, is like Alex Asaroli. So they're just making more of him. So they're just creating if those are the fans that do come back, they might end up being very.
When's the last time you saw Julia Stiles at a Red Bulls game? Right.
When's the last time you saw Judah Friedlander skulking about? We have
lost Judah Friedlander.
We've shed so much from this club in the last decade.
When's the last time you saw OGF Masso?
When's the last time you saw Enes Kanter?
When's the last time you saw Edie Falco? Oh, wait.
Right. Excuse me. You dead named Enes Freedom. No.
Right.
I think it's Enes Freedom Kanter, right?
I think it's just Freedom.
I think he just, the artist formerly known.
I was briefly dating someone who went to a Gulenist school in Arizona. And she didn't know anything about the ideology. Apparently they're not doing a good job at teaching this. So, Enes Kanter, doesn't surprise me that he's not really catching on. When's the last time you saw Juan Guaido at Red Bull Arena? I don't know.
Yeah, Janine Perez.
She's at the club, made a little birthday graphic for, I don't know, somebody, Matt Nacita, and then they put one out like 5 minutes later that was like, oh, sorry, Peter Stroud, we forgot your birthday. So you can just not do that. You can just not admit that. I don't know. They don't have calendars over there. They don't have
internet.
No internet. Well, what else?
Red Bulls and fire. Who you got?
Well, I was saying, like as
over-unders, prop bets.
As we make our full pivot into U.S. men's baseball podcast, Cork and I have never seen The Sandlot. Maybe we should just review The Sandlot.
Wow. Mark DeRosa has been real quiet as of late. Haven't heard anything out of his camp. But...
Are we going to play like the Rip Bozo meme once we got a new manager in?
Is that an auditory meme?
You can play like that Chief Keef song that plays during that.
Wow, I'm behind the times on this. I don't know. The U.S. Open Cup is starting.
Is that the thing that happens at Arthur Ashe?
Yeah, maybe. Might as well be. Yeah, I think that's what that stadium proposal is. To build.
I realized that you were making a joke about the actual tennis stadium, but for a split second, I thought your joke was that like, oh, don't we play our Red Bulls Open Cup games at Arthur Ashe now? Because we don't play them in the fucking arena anymore.
That's true. We do play them in Montclair, I think, right, or whatever.
Which is so cool. It's such a better atmosphere. It's so much cooler. It's as if it's not just that. Yeah, if you put 500 of the most diehards in a tiny stadium, like you're not fucking supposed to, then you get kind of a good atmosphere.
Where they should play, where they'll get a lot of attendance, is LIU.
Yeah,
the turf there, I think they could really pull off a US. They did play.
We'd have fewer injuries on that turf.
I do think they played a US Open Cup there. The Brooklyn Italians play here, so.
Right, yeah.
They should play at Sarah D. Roosevelt Park. Just fully just fully murder one of the people on the side.
Some 80-year-old man reading a Chinese newspaper.
For context, it's where we play DSA League, and we're just like, there's people constantly walking through and just get hit by soccer balls every once in a while. So, we were joined, you missed it this week, so we played a little bit of pickup after a game.
Nice.
Rough week for Barca Ehrenreich, but we march on. Just random, strange, leathery skinned German guy covered in tattoos wearing these big, enormous sneakers.
Like Balenciaga,
Was this Zlatko Junazovic?
Yeah, it was, yeah. He just started playing with us, and then I think he was reliving the glory days a little bit, and he got a little too serious.
He was very serious. He was on the ground drawing fouls.
He was complaining that he got fouled, and we were like, dude, it's fine. And then he wanted to take a photo with us, and nobody wanted to take a photo with him, and it was almost sad, but it was time to go. It was a very Lower East Side experience. I feel like quintessentially Lower East Side experience. He did yell at me because I didn't pass. I mean, I should have passed. I should have cut the ball across, but also it was pickup and we weren't keeping score. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a go. And he yelled at me for not passing the ball.
I yelled at you too at that moment, I remember.
Not like him, though.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, what is going? Maybe he should sign up for the Red Bulls. A little bit of a veteran presence.
Well, I fed him.
We tried, I guess. Struber did try to sign, Junovic. So
I did feed him a lot, but he did miss all of his shots.
That's true
because his shoes were so big.
I was a little nervous. I think he maybe talked about when he found out that we were with the socialists, how he might react to that. Really on a knife's edge there, but we're still here. We're still here.
They're not Christian. Just had to crack that.
Yeah, he was. He's actually used to play for the CDU's team, youth party team. But yeah, Rebels are playing Chicago on Friday, Saturday.
Apple TV,
8:30. I think the question is not. I mean, I would be surprised if we ever won a game again under Struber. The question more is will it matter if we lose? I guess Armas got fired on a Friday, but it was after a midweek game, right?
Yeah.
That's when we had an.
It was a day or two after. It wasn't the next morning.
But also there was an adult in charge at the time. So
right. Who would even do that now? I guess, okay, so the one thing that did pop up to me when watching the highlights as well is that, like, there was a decent Cornell save in, like, the 40th minute or so, and it would have put Montreal up 2-0 in the first half. And this game was also slightly notable that it's the first multi-goal loss we've had this year. First game we've lost by more than one goal. First game in a couple where we haven't scrapped out an ugly sort of goal to equalize it. And I was thinking, if that goal goes in at the beginning of, or still in the first half of that game, like, I wonder if the wheels really start to fully fall off there and we start imploding. Because the team under Struber has demonstrated as recently as last summer that they have a proclivity to do that. That 1 month we were giving up 5 goals like every match for like 3 weeks. So, I mean, that is one thing that hasn't fully fallen out. Like, the bottom hasn't fully fallen out on the team, just shipping up like 1 million goals. We've kind of still been able to stay tight, even though the team does kind of look a little demoralized. Like, they don't want to play for this guy. So that's one thing to watch on Saturdays. If we go down, are we going to hit the situation where we're like Spurs territory, like losing by a lot of goals in the first half, or just really throwing in the towel? I don't know.
It'd be nice to be in Spurs territory because they fired 2 managers this season.
Yeah, like a little bit of adjustment, and it does make you wonder, like, even if we were to, I mean, I think there's like damage being done by holding on even longer. Like, I think if you had fired Struber 2 weeks ago and give Lassane the reins, like, that's a little bit more of an opportunity to like start fresh. And I think the longer that you stay in this sort of terminal dead space, the more it's probably just like poisoning the vibe for everyone involved, and everyone's going to probably just want to move on.
I think I can take us on an Open Cup run.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess what we start next week or next round.
Yeah.
I guess there was the issue, like, there was Dante Van Zier gave an interview in Belgium where he describes the incident. I think what we've said in previous episodes pretty much applies here. I think we kind of covered this in that, Dante says that he was referring to the ref, not players, and that it was like an idiomatic misunderstanding. And he does recognize that it was a, fuck up still. But I think we covered it in the last 2 episodes where he said, even if you choose to believe that, of which we are skeptical, even if you choose to believe that, the way it was handled still was unacceptable, made it so much worse. Because if I were the manager in that situation and I were given the exact information that Van Zier said in this interview, of saying, like, I didn't call the other players that, I, referred to someone being a monkey to mean they stupid, and it was the ref. And if I were given that information and I saw how upset everyone would be, I unambiguously, it would say, like, okay, let's sub you out and let's hash this out later. Because this is clearly a distraction and a problem, and cause some real problem and cause some real hurt in a way that isn't okay and doesn't benefit anyone to prolong in a confusing and upsetting way. So I think it just goes to show really further that observation we made in the last 2 weeks, that even if you take the best case scenario, the best case story being presented here, it was just like embarrassingly, brutally mismanaged by Struber. And it's just going to hang over us as long as he's here. And the longer that he's here, the longer it's going to have a hangover and hang over the club, even after he's gone. Like, the stain is getting deeper and deeper and deeper every week he's here. I think, every week he's here, it's like at least another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 times as much time that people are not going to forget that this was allowed to fester here. Maybe they're going for kids because they think they have no memory and they're going to forget it. Maybe that's part of the motivation. But yeah, still pretty dire times at the club. even if the Red Bulls were to win at Chicago on Saturday, I don't think this would change any. I mean, it definitely wouldn't change any of these underlying factors. So let's go Mets, baby. We're going to the game on Friday.
I guess. I don't think I have anything on Friday.
We're thinking we were going to do that on Saturday instead, but I don't know if that's lining up. So
who are they playing?
The Braves.
Yeah, let's go Mets.
Yeah, let's go.
Fuck the Braves.
Yeah.
Let's go Knicks.
Yeah. What are the other teams?
Baby.
Yeah.
We'll put out our 202 go team to all the different New York sports clubs.
Yeah.
Later tonight. Sorry we're late.
Sorry, Rangers, you're not getting one.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Anything else? Another thrilling episode. I don't know. People have been reacting well every week. The last 2 weeks, I've been like, I don't know. It was just really circling the drain there, and people were like, nice. So I don't know. Maybe people are into this. So
have fun. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, till then, I guess.
It's Alex.